virtual semi-final between Bangladesh and Pakistan in Abu Dhabi. The winner secures a place against India in the final on Friday. Similar Super 4 trends for these teams. Heavy defeats against India, narrow wins against Afghanistan. Here they are against each other with everything to play for in the final. This is ESPN Cricinfo Matchday with our technology partner Vivo. Sanjay Manjrekar in studio with me and his co-member in the Mutual Admiration Club, Saqlain Mushtaq, joining us in the wee hours of the morning from the United States. Welcome, Saqlain. Always a pleasure. Sanjay, always a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
What is this mutual admiration thing?
I've noticed between the two of you have this great chemistry, which I've seen from very few guests that happen to come onto this show. So I quite like the fact that that's working. Okay. So I don't know if that's why you predicted Pakistan start as favourites in this game.
A slight edge because of seniority, experience. Both teams have, well-documented weaknesses and haven't really got their mojo going yet in the tournament. So, what's going to be fun is that it's not likely to be a one-sided contest. Everything is set up for the matchup to be a real close one, and that is all that we're looking for, isn't it? Good cricket.
There's been some unpredictability about both these teams, which tends to make for a fun or exciting contest. Yeah. How big are tosses in these sorts of games? Mustafi Murtaza has won it for Bangladesh, and they'll bat first. Saqlain, I'll come to you now. Both teams with question marks around their batting. In that situation, would you sometimes rather lose the toss and just be told what to do? Or is batting first something that you'd go for when your top order is short of runs?
I always believe that, if you win the toss, then you need to decide what exactly you are doing it. You don't think in that way. I think this is a negative for that. I don't want to win the toss. It's good to lose the toss and they are deciding. No, I'm deciding, not they are deciding.
Good point.
I think Bangladeshis, they knows that, we are not good to chase the runs. So that's why I think they are batting first. They want to put the runs on the board. So that's why they have longer batting 11. I was just listening about Sarfraz interview with Ramiz Raja, and he said that Amir is not playing, Junaid is in. I think, I will still back Amir. I know he's wicketless and his confidence is a bit low, but I will still, pick him for my best 11.
Okay,
anyway, this is...
Yeah, let's get more into it. Saqlain's brought up the big news anyway that Mohammad Amir is out. There are some wholesale changes for Bangladesh, including a fractured finger that leaves Shakib Al Hasan out. So that's massive for Bangladesh in a big game. We'll come to that, but since Saqlain's raised the point on Pakistan, let's confirm the playing 11. Junaid Khan indeed makes a comeback to the 11 at the expense of his fellow left-arm seamer Mohammad Amir, who's had a wretched Asia Cup so far, wicketless in all the games that he's played, dropped for the game against Bangladesh as well against Afghanistan, beg your pardon, in this series. Shaheen Afridi, hopefully luck will change for him. But let's talk about the Junaid Khan for Mohammad Amir swap. Saqlain says he would still give
I'd like to ask Saqlain, Mohammad Amir obviously has been dropped because he's not getting wickets. His economy rate is pretty good. Is the replacement Junaid Khan a wicket taker? I think that's the question.
But if you see that, Sanjay, Hassan Ali is not taking so many wickets either.
Yes. So you wanted Hassan Ali out and Amir to stay.
Okay. Hassan Ali, I will give rest to Hassan Ali. I'll bring Junaid in, and then Hassan Ali out.
Let's talk a little bit about why they would have made this call then, Saqlain. Junaid, let's talk about roles for each bowler. We've spoken that Hassan Ali is usually used much later in the middle overs and towards the death. How do you best use Junaid Khan now, given that we've seen Mohammad Amir struggle for swing but not have a plan B? Does Junaid Khan have a plan B?
Look, for me, I think in the middle over we have Fahim Ashraf. We have two spinners. Those will bowl after in the middle.
I'm not sure if Fahim Ashraf is
actually Fahim Ashraf was there in the playing 11 that we put out. But I don't know whether he's in the official lineup. So you've got Nawaz playing. Nawaz has been picked up.
There's a good chance that we just have that check. Because Sarfraz Ahmed said just one change, unless he forgot about that. But assuming...
Is Fahim Ashraf is in?
No,
we saw his name on the list. We'll just confirm that. Yeah. I know last show you said that Fahim Ashraf should be back in the team. But again, he's not quite the wicket taker, isn't it? Has Pakistan addressed their issue of not having bowlers who can get wickets for them? Because if you look at India, if they've dominated this tournament, it's because they've got some wicket takers in their bowling lineup. So I was just hoping that Pakistan would try and repair that, get somebody who's likely to get the wickets.
But if you see that Junaid is just coming in, I mean, he haven't played international cricket for a few months or maybe a year. You can't really put all the burden and saying that, okay, come as a leader. He needs few games to just to get in, and I think it's too much asking from Junaid.
From what you know of Mohammad Amir, the character, or the individual, or the personality, does this help his case or his his confidence that he's not had a good run of it? Let's not put any more. Let's just give him a bit of a break. Or because he's a player of reputation, you must play him and wait that at some point he'll come good.
We're never sure, what works with people. Sometimes a little, whip on the backside works. So maybe Amir, he might come back feeling a little hot.
And, but Sanjay, in that last game, he seemed switched off. Let's be fair. Okay?
I mean, he's not the same bowler. We have talked so much on this show about his bowling. It's just up and down bowling. There's nothing special, no variation. Just coming, looking to hit the deck. So, yes, I can understand Pakistan expecting more. But I wonder whether it's a technical issue that he's just lost some of his action, he's not getting the ball to talk much, or is it somebody who is just sort of stagnated?
Yeah.
So this helps. You've seen with India, when Ajinkya Rahane was dropped, he didn't come back a stronger player. So that could happen to Amir as well. Let's see what happens after he gets dropped.
Saqlain, it has admittedly been a tough tournament for the fast bowlers. Spinners have been great, but fast bowlers, you know what to expect at Abu Dhabi. It's again going to be hard work for the seamers. Is there not merit in saying, all right, Mohammad Amir's not had a good tournament, let's give Junaid Khan, it can't possibly get any worse?
Yeah, I totally understand that where Sanjay is coming and where the whole everyone is talking about his wicketless performance, but he's quite economical. And the other thing is, I think in the last one days he just bowled 2 overs, and then I think Sarfraz Nawaz, he just changed him from the he didn't give the proper spell. I think the captaincy of Sarfraz was had a question mark on that. He should have trusted a bit more on that on Amir.
So and clearly, Saqlain wanted Hassan Ali out and not Mohammad Amir. So
there's
clearly
too much of the sameness and 3 left-arm seamers. Then would
but
that
everybody is a left-arm seamer in Pakistan. So what do they do about
Amir Shaheen and Fahim Ashraf.
Okay, but that we are confirming the 11 that Fahim Ashraf is also not back, Saqlain. So they are sticking with Mohammad Nawaz as the spin bowling option. So there are some different opinions from Sarfraz Ahmed that to what Saqlain Mushtaq would like to have seen. But that's the playing 11 confirmed for you now. So there is no room for the seam bowling all-rounder Fahim Ashraf.
I like the fact, Ronak, sorry to interrupt, that when you look on the right-hand side, that column is filled with 5 genuine bowlers.
Yes.
Fahim Ashraf is a bits and pieces player, so I like speciality, that for a while I've been harping on that fact. So I like the look on the right-hand side. All of them pure bowlers, and they've got Shoaib Malik to turn in and bowl maybe 2-3 overs. Asif Ali does a bit of bowling. So I guess within the constraints, a good team pick, but we've seen in this tournament, if you've got an exceptional spinner, we saw how Rashid Khan won Afghanistan, almost won the game for Afghanistan in the last over. We've seen Mustafiz do that for Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Just not a bowler that I see in that Pakistan lineup who can be that person. I hope Shadab Khan has a great night or an afternoon.
I'm just trying to think of whether we're making more of the woes of Pakistan's bowling than there is. If they just take a couple of catches, Saqlain, maybe these problems will be solved. They've dropped 8 in the last 2.
Just 8, not 10.
No, I don't know how you. I've been bemused as to how international teams address this, because how much ever fielding in practice and whatnot you do it, you're dropping straightforward catches. I've always been perplexed as to how you try and fix that problem. It doesn't seem like something that coaches can change or anything. What are your thoughts on that, Saqlain?
Yeah, I mean, the fielding is purely, hard work. You have to at least 50 to 100 catches. You have to do it in every session, and you have to put your effort into practice. Practice will make you perfect, and I think they are a bit lazy into that. Now they're talking about Steve Rickson, that he is not anymore fielding coach for Pakistan, but you can't really say that. I mean, you are relying on a fielding coach. You have to put effort. You have to work hard in fielding. There is no shortcut in that, and that's been a problem for Pakistan. I mean, they don't enjoy. You have to enjoy. You got to enjoy.
I saw very interesting.
There's no other way.
Yeah, Saqlain, we saw a very interesting graph on ESPN Cricinfo about how when Steve Rickson was the coach, the graph of catching and the percentage had gone up.
We did a piece
and ever
recently
since
that it's been a great.
Can actually change, because if there's a coach who's insistent on every player taking 50 to 100 catches every day, automatically it's reflected on the field. Mickey Arthur made a very good observation about confidence crisis, and that could be the reason for the amount of drop catches. It's, if they're taking catches in practice and in training and dropping them on the ground, it's clearly a state of mind.
Let me provoke another thought. You speak so much of how the captain's energy or intensity just wears off on the other players. And, in Virat Kohli's absence, you can see the difference. Sometimes when the team's off or low, Sarfraz Ahmed, the character that he is, do you feel there's a flatness that starts getting contagious, alertness goes down, therefore catches just go down? Any correlation between having a leader? Could you imagine a different leader who could just keep the team alive even if things aren't going their way?
Especially a team like Pakistan is driven by leadership, India to an extent as well. But Sarfraz Ahmed as a character, I think I'm going to deflect that question to Saqlain, because he'll be able to tell us whether Sarfraz Ahmed is that kind of
I find him as a very honest character. He's very endearing, but is he a leader?
Team into believing that we can play good cricket, be a champion team. Is he a motivator? Does he have that kind of respect and quality in the team where he's able to inspire the others?
Yeah, so far, I mean, I believe that he's a strong character, Sarfraz, and everybody respects him as well. He's very energetic, very aggressive. You always think positive, and I think being a leader, you have to have these kind of qualities, and so far things are not going right in the right way. So that's why things looks that the team is not seems that they are very gel at the moment, because obviously the bowling unit is not taking wicket, and then top order having issues. So everything is going against them. But definitely Sarfraz is a very strong character, strong leader.
Point, because Saqlain, if he wins today and beats, say, India like they did in the Champions Trophy final, suddenly we'll be talking about Pakistan as a great team. Sarfraz Ahmed, such an able
He's a very endearing character. You look at Sarfraz, he comes across as honest, doesn't try and beat around it.
Leadership is crucial. Because Pakistan is such a temperamental side, and their performances actually are chalk and cheese with different leaders. When Imran was captain in Pakistan, it was a champion team. The moment Javed Miandar took over, there was like a revolution within the team as well.
Sure.
So that is the culture. And
but it's very hard to find another Imran. I mean, you're hardly ever going to get
India
that.
Also the same, I mean, South Africa, Australia, they're sort of machine-like, operations that they have. India, Pakistan, we need good
strong
leaders.
leadership. Okay.
We are an emotional race, so somebody who can, just motivate, inspire.
All right. And now you're talking only in cricket or generally? Because the leadership of Imran Khan is extended to far. Maybe the second most difficult job, that's Prime Minister. The most difficult is being Pakistan
Let me not
captain.
get there, because that is not my area of expertise.
Very well. Now you might think that all the problems are for Pakistan. Saqlain says they just need a little bit of luck. Bangladesh have their share of problems, and maybe a little bit of luck has come in the form of a couple of key players being out of this game. Shakib Al Hasan has injured his finger, so Mominul Haq, who's got such an impressive test record but somehow doesn't cut it for white ball cricket, has been drafted in. Nazmul Hussain Shantos got just 20 runs in his first 3 ODIs, so he makes way for Shoumya Sarkar, who was drafted into the squad in controversial fashion by, well, it seems like administrators more than selectors. Imrul Kayes got runs on his return. He was, along with Shoumya, brought into this team. And looking around, Nazmul Hussain goes out. Rubil is back, so a bit of pace as well. Sanjay?
I guess the administrators are feeling that they are in form with their selections. So they have gone one step further, and they've got Shoumya Sarkar in as well. Mominul Haq is not such a bad thing, because we are looking at a pitch where you're getting just about 240, 250. This is not a tournament where you're getting 320, so you need the striking power of modern day players. So Mominul is that typical, little left-hand batsman who doesn't have power, but if he gets a good 50, 70, enough runs on the board. But Shakib is a big side back. More his bowling than his batting, I guess.
And we also look at that batting order. We'll have a chat on Mahmudullah, who's slotted for 7, which is where he came even the last game.
We should call up Ajit Agarkar and tell him that, Mahmudullah is again slotted at number 7.
I think he
wants to join us from somewhere.
He'll come back from Paris on his way back. But Saqlain, Shakib out of this game. He's not been amongst the runs in this tournament, but that is still a big blow in a knockout game.
Yeah, you're right. He's a key player, and I think he's number 1, number 2 all-rounder in the world. And he's a think tank as well, and he's that kind of a player who can change the game. He's a game changer in terms of bowling or batting. Great experience and obviously backbone of the Bangladesh team. Pakistan will have a big advantage of Shakib Al Hasan not being in the squad.
All right, let's just also tell you that this is a bigger miss for Bangladesh, because even though Shakib didn't have the form, somehow against Pakistan, he really turned it on. An average of 40 with the bat and 30 with the ball, 21 wickets against Pakistan in one-day international cricket. So he likes playing Pakistan, but that fractured finger has made some serious doubts, some serious questions about that 11. Let's talk about their batting lineup. They're batting first, questions at the top of the order. You know what Mominul's about. Soumya Sarkar, we've seen him in the shortest form. He's been brought back. If you are to make that batting lineup, lots of lefties, lots of righties, and Mahmudullah at 7, what would you do?
It's a trend that I don't understand in today's cricket, where when you look at the batting lineup, who are the best batsmen on pure ability? You would say Mushfiqur Rahim and Mahmudullah. Where are they batting down the order? I don't know why this liking to bat down the order and be the men who will save Bangladesh from a crisis. It was Mahmudullah in the last game. Why not go up there and make sure there's no crisis? Because if you start well in the top 1, 2, 3, you end up getting 300 runs. When you're always recovering, you recover at the most to get 240 or 250 because you've lost 3 wickets for 100 runs. You're taking some time to rebuild. Why not have your best players up there in the batting order and ensure you start off well, put the opposition on the back foot, end up getting 300 runs on the ball.
Now, Shahryar Nafees, when he was on the show earlier, Saqlain said that they want Shakib to bat 3 for the World Cup. That's the long-term plan. But Shakib personally likes batting at 5, so they were in that bit of a mix, and he got a couple of first bowlers, so he wasn't very happy. Now there's no Tamim Iqbal and there's no Shakib. For this game, how would you address it? Would you bring the experienced players up?
Sanjay already mentioned that, and I totally agree that, I mean, you have to have top order your main player. I mean, if you see that India, their best player, Virat and before Sachin, Sehwag, they used to come on top, and number 5th, number 6th, number 7th, it doesn't make sense your key player are going really, really down the order. Australia, they always used to keep the key player up. And I think when I used to work with Bangladesh, I had a chat with Mahmudullah as well. I was working obviously on his spin side, but we had few chats, and he said that I don't like to go top of the order.
That's excellent, and I think
that's very interesting, Saqlain, because you see that with the England team as well. So that's why I said modern day players. In England, it was amazing during the Test series. You were closely associated with that England team, where you had a Joe Root batting at number 3, wanting to bat at number 4. You had a Bairstow batting at number 4, you wanted to bat at number 5. You had Stokes batting at number 5, wanting to bat down the order. So all these people expressing their personal preferences of wanting to bat down the order, but you should just hear it and not adhere to it, because it just doesn't make any sense.
Are you saying it's something more epidemic of a modern player? I think players for a while have always had their preferred and favored.
Yeah, but never down
positions.
the order, right? I mean, look at Virendra Sehwag used to bat at number 6, started opening the innings. Australians had all their best players in the top 4. Steve Waugh was the only guy who was a great batsman, batted down the order, and that wasn't quite approved by the Australians. So this is a new trend, and maybe it builds from a certain amount of negativity that you want to go in later, because when you go at 100 for 3 as a Mushfiqur Rahim, because I batted in that position, pressure is a lot less because everyone is looking at you as somebody who's trying to save the game. Everything's going for you. Go right at the top when the bowlers are fresh. Try and get an early advantage. Start dominating from the start. Matthew Hayden and Adam Gilchrist at the top.
Fine, but how much of this is a personality issue? It's okay if you have Sehwag or Hayden or Gilchrist who just say, okay, I'll do it, won't think too much. You said, Saqlain, Mahmudullah prefers batting 6-7. He's not confident of batting up. As a coach or a captain, would you still push him, or would you want one of your key players to bat in a comfortable position for him?
Definitely, I have to convince him first.
Yeah.
I have to convince him first. When I will clear his mind, when I will convince him, then I can do that. But if you see that in modern cricket, they have to go on top order. It will be the things will be totally different. You can't play that low, and even Mushfiqur Rahim. They should go up, and Shakib Al Hasan, what we just mentioned, that they have to go up. You can't do that. It doesn't justify to me.
If you remember Mohammad Azharuddin, when he got that test 100 at the Eden Gardens against South Africa at the time, that was one of his quickest hundreds, I think one of the quickest Indian test 100. He wasn't keen to go into bat because he had a dodgy arm. He was hit on the arm, wasn't keen to bat. And he said, I don't want to bat now, I want to take a rest, bat later in the order. Madan Lal was the coach who said, you know, typical guy from Delhi, you know, real fighter. And he said, you've got no choice, you've got to bat at that position. He was the captain and they forced him to bat at that position. He went and blasted 100 and he'll thank Madan Lal for it.
You know, those are, I mean, I'm trying to think from Mahmudullah's point of view. If he goes at number 3 or 4 and gets out cheap, it only gets worse, doesn't it?
See, the other thing that you've got to do is his batting style suited to bat at number 3? It's not fair to send somebody who's not suited.
He got hundreds in the World Cup batting.
He's got a very organized technique. I mean, I say that about Rahul as well, who's not playing well. But he's got all the batting skills that can work at number 4.
And you've maybe made this point. It's such a wonderful place to bat in 2018 and 50 over cricket.
I just don't understand this. And, you know, players' individual choices should be considered. But finally, the captain and the coach have to do what's best for the team.
Saqlain? Yes.
Yep. Yeah, again, I totally agree with Sanjay. They have to go on top order. But the thing is, you have to think for the team as well. And you don't need to think for yourself all the time. And the more you will the more you will face the deliveries, you will have more chance to do well for the country.
Okay, let's turn it around a little. Because I'm trying to understand Bangladesh. They've got experienced players. They had Shakib and Mushfiqur. They say, you guys bat up. Mahmudullah, if there's a collapse, will bail you out of it, which is exactly what he did in the last game. So it seems like a theory it works. Don't concentrate all your best players together. Now, does that change only because of Shakib and Tamim not being around for this particular game, or you would want Mahmudullah batting up anyway?
Anyway. Bat up the order.
Because what I'm trying to say is that if he's bailing them out of situations, that gives him the confidence that he's the right man to bat.
Yeah, but why have a position? Yeah, why should there be a man, you know, waiting to get a team out of the crisis? Why not think positive and ensure that there's going to be no crisis? Why not Mushfiqur Rahim has the game to bat at number 3 or 4, Mahmudullah at 4 and Mushfiqur Rahim at 3, or maybe at 5 Mahmudullah and 4 Mushfiqur Rahim. All the lesser players going at the top of the order when the game has just started. Bowlers are fresh, the ball is hard, it swings a little bit, may not swing. But it just shows to me that they're trying to bat in their comfort zone. And sometimes you need somebody outside to push you out of your comfort zone and you discover some quality that you didn't know you possess. So I don't think it should be left to the individual too much.
Right. Let's take our attention back to the Pakistan now and Sarfraz Ahmed's captaincy. Big game, Saqlain. You can put everything that's happened in this tournament and gone wrong behind. Tactically, how do you approach it? Who takes the new ball for you? What would you like to see from Pakistan in the first half hour or hour of this game?
Obviously, Junaid and Shaheen will take the new ball. Hassan Ali doesn't enjoy to bowl new one, which I think I totally disagree on that. He need to learn how to bowl the new one, new pill. And then obviously we'll come afterwards. Then we have 3 spinners, which is Shadab, Nawaz, and then a bit of Malik. The thing is, you know, I mean, it's too much asking from Junaid, which is, I just mentioned before that, you know, Amir should be in. He done it before. And I have a strong faith on him that, you know, I mean, he was your leader. He should be the leader for today's game, win the game and against India. Okay. And you never know if he was in the squad playing against Bangladesh, having 2 wickets, getting confidence and going for a big game against India. Now, Junaid is coming in. He actually needs some time. He haven't played for months for Pakistan, so you can't really put all the load on Junaid. So I think they done that mistake. And then Hassan, I think he's not taking too many wickets in the middle.
Okay.
And if Fahim comes, then we will have two power hitter. And Fahim, I think he's quite nippy. He bowled wicket to wicket as well.
The day he doesn't like the
but
look of the bowling attack
to be seen today, Ronak, we should really watch the Pakistan team closely and see when they when they play against Bangladesh, whether they look different. Mickey Arthur has talked about confidence crisis. Is this something that is only against India or against all opposition? We'll come to know today.
Okay. What about the approach from the Bangladeshi openers? Again, slightly short on runs. Afghanistan have shown the way almost in Abu Dhabi. Go steady, cautious, get 250 and back your bowlers. Would you want to do that?
Yeah, I think that is likely to happen, and those are the kind of batsmen that they have. They don't have the dashers anymore. Tamim was the only one at the top of the order, and maybe down the order Mushfiqur Rahim might slog a few.
Okay.
But they'll go. I think everybody's learned that this is a venue where you get 250.
Chasing is tough. Saqlain, what's the
7
number?
times out of 10, team batting first have won. So.
And but for that game against Afghanistan, 220 wasn't an easy chase. Pakistan managed to get 250. You know that they aren't the happiest chasing. So what number as Pakistan would you be happy to keep Bangladesh to?
I think probably 230 to 40.
Okay.
230 to 40, but I think it'll be a good match for Pakistan. Everyone knows that we are not a good chaser. We batted first against India. If we win today, I'm talking about next game. If we win today and chase against India and try and change the different, trying to change their tactics, like rather than batting first against India, bowl first against India and bat in the end.
All right.
So might change over the tactics.
All right, Sanjay, 230 to 40. You'd be happy if you were Pakistan if you can keep them to 230 to 40.
Yeah, less the better. But I'm going to just keep watching the body language of this Pakistan team, whether it's different when they play against Bangladesh and slightly more reticent against India.
We'll find out in 50 overs. Many thanks, Sanjay Manjrekar and Saqlain Mushtaq. We'll get your thoughts in our mid-innings show. Hope to have you for that as well on ESPN Cricinfo Matchday with our technology partner Vivo. For now, the attention is on this virtual semi-final. Download the ESPN Cricinfo mobile app to stay up to date with our extensive coverage around it. Bangladesh batting first. We'll see how much they get in about 3.5 hours. Bye-bye.